What is up, ladies and gentlemen? We got game 2 here against yet again another Kinemon, which is pretty funny. But we are playing against my man Lee here. He is the man, the myth, the legend, and he is also my co-host on the podcast 10 Drop Podcast. So if you haven't checked it out, we are on Spotify, we're on Apple, and all that good stuff. We've just been talking about some of the tournaments that have played out, like the regionals, the upcoming treasure cups, deck metas, all that stuff. And yeah, we just started it recently, so you know it's a work in progress, but we're having a lot of fun, and eventually we'll hopefully be getting into some video as well, but at the moment it's just audio. And yeah, Lee is a phenomenal Magic player, and it's funny, we tried to show the camera our cards here, but I think we were just a little too high on not like, you know, on marijuana, but on showing our showing our cards on the camera. It's a little too high. But as you can see, I got a Radical Beam and Nami, Nico Robin, I think it was like a 5-drop Luffy or something like that. And yeah, so turn 1, I'm going to go ahead and play down Nami, and we don't really find much. I find a Radical Beam and a Sanji. We already do have Radical, as well as an Atmos. That was the last card. So I do decide to pick up the 2k counter and just go with Sanji here. But he is going to use leader ability and turn 1 play Raizo, and I draw into another Nico Robin, so pretty much just feeling like I got to get that down. Just put it on the board. I'll go ahead and swing 5 at life here. And I expected him to take the life, but he does counter with Toki. So I was a bit surprised by that, but I'm okay with him, you know, using a resource to counter out right there. But he does play Momo and search a little bit. See what he finds. It looks like he's going to find Shinobu, which is pretty interesting. 3-drop, 5k. And I think he runs this in a deck. I haven't technically talked to him about it, but he runs this in the deck for the Odin kill. You know, he could put down a 5-drop Shinobu if he doesn't find, or excuse me, if he doesn't have like an Okiku or something like that, I believe. And it's also searchable by Land of Wano. And then he used his leader ability to tap down that Raizo. But we go ahead and swing 2 at Momo, take out Momo with Nami there. And I will Otama and bring the Raizo down. I just don't want to give him too much card draw here. I'll swing for 5 at life with Nico Robin. Still saving 4 Dawn at the moment, but yeah, I swing for 5 again at life, you know, trying to either burn a resource or, you know, just whittle him down just a little bit. And that's usually my play in Kinemon, is try and take like 1 or 2 life early and then build a board and be able to go for it once we have Whitebeard down or some substantial some substantial cards that have, you know, strong enough swings to get through, like 7-drop Kid, or potentially you know, some of the blockers that he might have. Putting down Nico Robin stops a lot of the Beji blockers, as well as like Killer here. He will choose to go 6 at Nico Robin, and I'm going to go ahead and take that. And he uses Yamato, rests my other Nico, and goes 7 at her. So I'm like, dang. All right, well, there goes both of those. And we go up to 7 Dawn here, I believe. Yeah, 7 Dawn. And I can do a little bit of board clear here. I can take out Shinobu, you know, because next turn it doesn't matter. You know, with him having 6, he's going to be at 8 Dawn. He'll be able to put down Odin no matter what. Whether he uses leader ability or not. You could argue that he could have Odin, and then he wouldn't be able to do a blocker like Beji or Toki or something like that. But I just go ahead and swing 5 at Shinobu and then 6 right here with Luffy. And then I will use my last Dawn. Actually, no, I think I just pass here. No, I use the leader ability and decide to swing for 5 at life with Nami. I'm trying to be a bit aggressive, I guess. Maybe a little over-aggressive, per se. But he does counter out with the Raizo and goes up to 8. And if he swings for 6 with Yamato, it makes me feel like he's going to drop Odin. So I'm just going to counter out with, you know, like a 2k counter or like a 1k counter or something, just to protect the Luffy. And I think maybe he'll go like 5 at Nami or something with leader. But he does choose to go 6 here. And I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, okay, 8-drop Odin's coming out. I'm just going to counter out of this. I think I countered out with like a Vista. Yeah, and he chooses to go 6 with leader. I will counter out with Sanji. And yeah, he's putting down that Odin for the leader ability for 7. And then we go up to 9 Dawn. I do finally, end up picking up that Whitebeard. So Whitebeard's looking like the play here, but I am going to swing for 6 at Yamato, try and bait out counter, and then drop Odin, or not, wow, drop Odin, drop Whitebeard, use my leader ability and go to 8, and now Yamato should be dead. Yeah, so that was a decent play. I felt pretty good about it, but having Luffy rested just to get rid of the Yamato does feel a little bad. I would have liked to have the 2 swings the next turn, but with him swinging 8 at that, yeah, there's just no chance we're going to survive. But he puts down a second Odin and then reactivates and swings 8 at life again with this one. So I'm considering whether I want to take it or not, but yeah, we're just going to go down to 3 here. And man, I tell you what, dealing with that Odin is a pain, man. It's a pain. That is a card that I don't really like playing against in this deck. But I do have another Whitebeard in hand. Do we go for the Odin here? And it looks like we do, so I'll go 10. And I think he's got about like 5 cards in hand or 6 cards or something like that. And he will let it go. And he's looking for that Okiku, but he also does find an Izo, and he uses the Izo to rest my Nami, just to stop some of my future swings here. I was really expecting the Okiku, but I think that putting the Izo down to stop the Nami was, it's pretty inconvenient. And then I'll go ahead and tap 1 under leader, and I'll go for 8 at life here. We bring him down to 2. I'm getting him into that potential KO range. So now, with one of my new gates being vulnerable, most likely he's gonna die this turn, but then the second new gate will get me within that KO range. I don't know if I have a second 5-drop Luffy in hand or not. It doesn't look like we do. No, we got Marco, Vista, Atmos, and a Radical Beam. But I know that he has he runs 7-drop Kid as well as the 5-drop Law Blocker. So there are a lot of, really inconvenient things that he could do that would stop some of my attacks. But he does go pretty heavy here, if I'm not mistaken, on taking care of the new gate. And I did save one of these Dawn for Radical Beam, but there is a very troubling instance that will be coming up here in just a moment that that definitely, like, I don't know. It was something that happens, but it was just I don't know. It made me feel like made me feel like an idiot and a bit of a shit player. I mean, I know that I'm not a great player, but I know that I at least pride myself on being, knowledgeable on the game enough. And I think that sometimes you just get sucked into the game too much that you end up, making small mistakes. And yeah, he reactivates the Odin. Now, on this turn, I cannot go for his Odin. I obviously am going to kill the Izo with Whitebeard, but it's what do I do with the remaining Dawn? I do have Marco. I do have Atmos. I choose to put down Atmos here, and I rest the 4 Dawn. I did some math in my head, and I went, okay, I kind of have to go 12, KO the Izo, make him take a life, but then I messed up. I should have swung with 5 at lead first, and instead I just went 12 there, but kind of, not that big of a deal, just a slight misplay. And then I'll rest 4 and play Marco, trying to get the block, trying to be able to block the Odin attack that's about to come. And with him having all 10 Dawn, obviously he can rest the Marco, but I feel like I'm in a very, very good position right now. I've got a block against the new gate. I left 1 Dawn open for Radical Beam, and it's just like it's re-haunting me what happens right here. and it's coming up, but basically just to let everyone know, this is, you know, Lee's one of my friends and we run this podcast together, and I just feel like in this moment I ended up doing something that it was so unintentional, but it turned out to be, in my opinion, very, you know, very game breaking. And we look at it and he goes 3 for the Yamato, rests my Marco, and then 15 at Newgate. Now here I'm just mulling over the fact, like, do I save it? Because in my mind, I don't know why, but in my mind I was like, this is why I saved my last Dawn, was to use my Radical Beam. But I was thinking, for some reason, I was asking him here about the Dawn because for some reason I was thinking he has 3 Dawn and he's going to reactivate Odin. But then I was like, oh shoot, he already used it. But I'm just going to let it play. Wow. I think this is the right play. Radical to 14, 15, 16. Okay. He says okay, but this is not okay. I had 3 life. I was not intentionally trying to do this, but I used Radical Beam thinking, because I always use Radical Beam when I'm at 2 life. So I'm used to it doing 4k instead of 2k. And it's just not okay. I was supposed to go, I was supposed to let the Newgate die right there. Well, using those cards, I only got to 14k instead of 15. And he swings 5 here at Marco and takes care of that. But we both play through it because we both thought in our minds, okay, that was fine. We did it. Like, you know, he survived. Newgate is alive. And yeah, this was like a moment that, you know, in the game right now, I'm feeling really good because I didn't think that I made a misplay. It was after the game that we were talking, and he was like, man, I can't believe that you were able to get out of that swing on Newgate. And I was like, yeah, you know, like the Radical Beam brought me up, and then I just had the two 1Ks. And he went, wait, weren't you at 3 life? And I said, oh my God, I think I was at 3 life. Like it occurred to me, like I had to think about it, but it like occurred to me, I was like, holy shit, I was at 3 life. Like that shouldn't have worked. And I just felt terrible. And like the rest of the tournament, it really affected my mindset because I don't know. I hate doing that to anybody, but especially a friend. And I didn't mean to do it intentionally, but it wasn't okay. Now, we did try to rectify the situation, but it's 2 days later now, and I've had a lot more time to think about it, and there was such a better way that we could have done it. And so we rectified the situation by replaying a match really quickly to see, you know, like, okay, you know, that wasn't fair. Let's go for a replay and see, you know, whoever wins this match goes for it. But looking back at it now, I think that there was a better way we could have done it. I record all these matches. We could have gone back into the, you know, recording on the phone. Wow, I brick with the Nami right there. And we could have gone back with the recording and then gone to the position and just put all the cards back in our hands and then replayed from that spot. And I play a second Nami right here and brick yet again. No Straw Hat cards. Putting it down at the bottom of the deck. And honest to God, I mean, if that's not karma, I don't know what is, you know. Didn't mean to do my friend dirty, but it's karma coming back, ladies and gentlemen. And I think I even mentioned that right here, if I'm not mistaken. That's nuts. You know, that's karma right there. That's karma. that's what that is. Yeah, but I mean, no kidding. No kidding. I mean, it hurts that that happens, but at the same time, I kind of deserved it, if I'm being honest. And yeah, he does play down Yamato here, rests one of my Namis, and he does choose to go 1 and swing at life, and then Raizo swing at Nami, KOs her real fast, and then we're going to go back up to 5 Dawn. But back to what I was saying before, I really do think that we could have just gone back to the board state that we were at, because it's not fair to replay the match when, technically speaking, it's not the same game. This is a completely different game now. And, you know, yeah, this might go in his favor, or it might go in mine, you know, and that's where I think that he had He had a better position in that last match, and I could have... I still think I was doing pretty well because I had a Whitebeard in hand, but still, it would have changed up how that was played out completely. So looking back at it, should have 100% just gone back to the original board state since we record it. But he throws down another Raizo and a Bonnie, and he swings, taking me down to 3 life here. And I go up to 7 Dawn, I believe, this turn. And the Raizos are extremely inconvenient. They're not helping me out here. You know, he's going to be getting a lot of card draw off that next turn. But, yeah. I choose to rest 5, play Kingdu, and then I will go 7 at life. We do save the last one yet again for Radical Beam. This time, not using it at 3 life, knowing that I made the mistake in the first game and am not going to make that mistake again. But he does Bonnie search and see if he finds anything good. Looks like he's probably going to pick up 5-drop Law here. And yeah, with 7 Dawn remaining though, he can't put down the Odin. So I don't feel the Odin pressure coming immediately, but I definitely know that he could put down 7-drop Kid. He could use that Law to bounce back Bonnie and search again. He could start swinging with Raizo and just get all kinds of, you know, all kinds of cards in his hand. He does choose to go 5 at life with Raizo here. And the card draw, man, that card draw. I do counter out, and he'll go 5 at life again with another card draw, leaving 5 open. So I'm feeling the, I'm definitely feeling the 5-drop Law coming down, but I will take the life going down to 2. And there's the Law, bounce back the Bonnie, play the Okiku. His board is terrifying right now. Terrifying. We gotta do some, I don't know, just some board clear. We gotta do some management here. I do have 9-drop, but I don't know if 9-drop is feeling really good in this position. So I do choose to go for 4 here with Nami at Raizo. And he will counter out. He counters out with one of the Tokis. And then I know I have a Jet Pistol in hand, so I'm deciding whether I want a Jet Pistol Law or Jet Pistol Kiku, what's more inconvenient. And I know that the Law is, you know, something to be weary of once he gets Odin down, but at the same time, like, Okiku is going to be very bad for my bottom line if I have, you know, like if I want to play Marco or something like that. And yeah, so we go ahead and get Okiku out. I'm going to use leader ability here. I choose to go, I think, 6 at Raizo, if I'm not mistaken. No, it looks like 7. Yeah, 7 at Raizo. And he could easily just rest the Law there, but decides not to. And then I'll go 8 at Raizo. And I choose to go 8 here because if he rests Law, he's going to have to use 2 cards. And he does use 2 Scratch Mana Poo. So I was a little surprised by that because I knew that he had the Bonnie in hand. I didn't know if he really needed to do a lot of searching. Because, you know, Odin here would just be, you know, pretty dang good. But I guess it kind of depends. I know that he wants to use Bonnie here simply because of the fact that he'll be able to get not only a search but a card draw out of Raizo swinging at Nami, and then that Odin could just come out right afterwards, looking pretty good. But he is counting his Dawn, just trying to figure out what the best play is. I know he's at 3 life at the moment. I'm at 2, but yeah, I'm not gonna lie, guys. Like that mistake with Radical Beam, it really shook me for the rest of the tournament. I don't know. I felt terrible, and I know that it also, you know, put him in a sour mood because, you know, as much as he know that I didn't mean to do it intentionally, it was still not, you know, something that you enjoyed just to have happen. You're like, ugh, God. Oh, but now that I think about it, he did actually do this a little differently than I had expected. So he did go for the Raizo swing on Nami and then the Kinemon at lead. So I go down to 1 life. We are looking a little, you know, meh. It's not fantastic, but trying to get into a decent position. He goes for the counter with the Law here. And I play down Newgate, and I'll go 8 at his Law, which should KO it. That was my biggest fear, honestly, was him having the law down for the next turn when I try and go for lethal. So now I just have to survive 2 Odin swings. You know, 2 15 Odin swings are going to hurt. But I'm not sure if it would have been more advantageous for him to go maybe 7 with leader and then 13 or something like that with Odin. But he does go 15 here, and I know that I could counter out of it with the stuff in hand at the moment, if I'm not mistaken. But I also kind of want to have him swing again. And now's where he's deciding, okay, do I swing with Odin again, and where do I swing with Odin again? Do I swing at King Du or do I swing at Luffy? And he chooses to go at King Du. And I think, I can't remember if I'm pretty sure I had the counter here, but we look at this closely. I go to 11 on King Du, we go to 13, and then I'm just deciding which cards I want to use. I go to 15 and then 16. So clean Radical Beam there, all is good. And yeah, not bad. But back up to my next turn. It's funny that I drew my card and was about to put it on top of my Dawn deck. And I was like, well, if you saw it, you saw it. It's not like it really matters because I have to go for lethal here. And if I don't get lethal, then, you know, sucks to suck. But yeah, this was interestingly enough. I think that I had him in a slightly like too comfortable position because I swing for 7 with lead, and I believe he had the counters for it, and I don't think that he countered, or maybe he didn't. Maybe he didn't. Did he use one of his Bonnies? I thought he had 3 in hand. But I choose to bring out Zoro. I'm going to use leader ability, and I think I bring him up to 9 here. Yeah, so I go for 9 at life, and he does take that. I'll go for 9 with King Du, and he will take this, and then I'll go for 10. And I did get it. I did get it, but, you know, at the same time, it didn't feel like a good win. It really didn't. Honestly, even just talking about it right now, it didn't feel like a great win, and I wish that I had thought of it in the moment of just going back to the board state and looking at my phone. But you know, Lee's a friend. I love Lee, and he's a super cool dude. And he, you know, as much as that was a bummer, I think that at the end of the day, you know, he knew that there was no malicious intent. It was just absolutely, I don't know. I would say it was just absolutely like, it was bad on my part for just being so used to using that for 4K, and then unfortunately in the moment using that to my advantage. But it, to me, I was like, oh, I'm at 16K, I'm great. But that's the way it goes, and you live and you learn. I'm always going to show mistakes like this. I'm not going to try and hide them from the YouTube channel because I want you guys to know that when stuff like this happens, you know, how I respond to it, or how, you know, I tried to rectify the situation, which I don't think, you know, playing a second game was bad to rectify it. I just think it could have been done better in hindsight, you know what I mean? But I hope that you guys enjoyed the match, and other than that, have a wonderful day. I'll see you soon. Peace.